All right, so you're sitting there wondering how to get smarter faster, right? Well, we've got something really cool lined up for you today. It's a deep dive into something pretty incredible. We're talking Pixar.
But not just Pixar, we're talking Pixar and Lego.
Yeah, Lego Pixar. So picture this, okay? A giant honeycomb. And it's not made of, well, honeycomb, it's made entirely of Lego bricks.
Wow.
Yeah, and within this honeycomb, there are over 30 separate dioramas, each one depicting an iconic scene from a different Pixar movie.
That is ambitious.
Well, it's seriously impressive. This was the star attraction at the recent Swebrick Lego fan event. And it really gets you thinking, how do you capture the magic and the emotion of these animated masterpieces using a medium as structured as Lego?
Right. How do you go from these fluid animated characters and stories to these, static brick-built scenes? It's a challenge for sure.
Totally. So let's start by talking about scale and detail, okay? Because we're talking about shrinking down these massive animated worlds into these tiny little Lego dioramas.
Yeah, you really have to get creative and think about the essence of each scene.
Yeah.
Take Up, for example.
Yeah.
So much of that movie is about Carl's emotional journey.
Oh, man, just thinking about the beginning of that movie.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But they couldn't build Carl's entire life story in Lego. So what did they do?
What did they do?
They focused on some really key images. Like you see Carl at his desk, and instantly you're right back in that montage, feeling all the love and loss. And then, get this, they actually made the floating house.
No way. How'd they do
They're
that?
tiny little Lego balloons.
Seriously.
Seriously. It's incredible what they could do with just a few carefully chosen elements. It shows you that you don't need to recreate every detail to evoke those powerful feelings.
So true. And speaking of feelings, let's talk about the emotional core of these Pixar movies. How do you capture those heart-wrenching moments, those bursts of joy in something as tangible as Lego?
Well, I think this is where the creativity of the builders really shines. They have to find ways to represent these abstract ideas with physical objects.
And how do they do that?
Take Inside Out. How do you show emotions as Lego characters?
Right, especially something like joy and sadness.
Exactly. So they built these memory orbs out of transparent Lego pieces, and inside each orb, there are tiny joy and sadness minifigures.
Oh, that's adorable.
It is. And then for Monsters, Inc., you've got the iconic door vault perfectly scaled down with Sully and Boo standing there, ready for their next adventure.
Oh, that gets me right in the feels.
Right. It's amazing how a few well-placed Lego pieces can trigger these deep emotional responses.
Totally. So Pixar movies aren't just about emotions. They take us to some pretty incredible places, too. Like the vast underwater world of Finding Nemo. I'm curious how they tackled that one.
Oh, Finding Nemo is a great example of how they used layering and transparency to create depth.
Layering and transparency.
Yep. They used all these different shades of blue and green transparent Lego bricks to build up the coral reef.
Ah, so you can see through the layers, making it look like it goes way back.
Exactly. It's a simple trick, but it creates this really convincing underwater scene.
That's super clever. And, it's interesting because that's very different from how they approached Wall-E.
Oh yeah, Wall-E is all about that desolate post-apocalyptic world.
And, they really capture that feeling of vast emptiness, that sense of Wall-E being just this tiny little robot in this huge abandoned world.
Yeah, and they achieved that with a really limited color palette.
So no bright blues and greens like in Finding Nemo?
Nope. Wall-E is mostly browns and grays.
Yeah.
It's stark. And against that backdrop, Wall-E just looks so small and vulnerable. It's very effective.
It's like they're using forced perspective, even though they're working in these tiny spaces.
Right. It's not just about recreating the characters. It's about recreating the feeling of the world.
Yeah, and sometimes that world is made of toys. I mean, the Toy Story diorama must have been a trip.
Oh, Toy Story is like a meta Lego creation. You're building toys out of the ultimate toy medium.
Mind blown.
Right. But it works so well. You see scenes from Sid's room, those creepy mutant toys he creates.
Oh, God, those were terrifying.
I know, right? And then you've got Lotso, the evil bear. They captured his menacing presence with just a few pink and purple Lego bricks.
So you're saying that sometimes it's not about showing everything, it's about using just enough detail to trigger the viewer's memory and imagination?
Exactly.
All right, so we've talked about scale, emotion, different environments, but what about action? Pixar movies are packed with action, chases, explosions, superhero fights. How do you freeze those dynamic moments in Lego?
That's a really interesting challenge, isn't it? It's a question about how we interpret still images to understand motion. You see it in comics, in paintings, and here in these dioramas.
So how did they do it?
Well, let's look at the Incredibles training scene.
Okay, so picture Elastigirl and Dash, running, stretching, dodging.
Right. And in the Lego version, you don't see them literally running. Instead, they've positioned the minifigures in these dynamic poses.
So, like, Elastigirl's arm is stretched out, maybe.
Exactly. And Dash has this blur of red bricks behind him to suggest speed. It's all about creating that sense of movement and energy, even though the figures themselves are static.
So it's not about literal representation, it's about capturing the essence of the action.
Exactly. And they use similar techniques in other dioramas. For example, the Brave scene uses varying shades of green and brown Lego bricks to create the illusion of the Scottish Highlands, with all its rolling hills and valleys.
So even though the landscape is static, it feels dynamic because of the way the bricks are arranged?
Exactly. It's all about using texture, color, and composition to create a sense of depth and movement.
It sounds like each Pixar film presented a unique set of challenges for the builders.
Oh, absolutely. Each movie has its own visual style, its own unique set of characters and environments. But what's remarkable is that each diorama feels distinct.
You can tell instantly which movie it's from.
Right. But at the same time, all the dioramas work together as a cohesive whole. They're all part of this larger honeycomb structure.
So the Coco diorama would look very different from the Luca diorama.
Totally. Coco is bursting with bright colors, and they even incorporated Lego musical notes to represent the music.
That's so cool.
Right. And then Luca has this softer, more whimsical feel, capturing those moments of transformation between boy and sea monster.
It really speaks to the versatility of Lego as an artistic medium.
It really does.
Right.
And the honeycomb structure itself plays a big role in the overall experience, too.
So it's not just a random arrangement of dioramas.
Nope. The honeycomb grid gives each scene equal importance. It creates this unified display that invites you to explore each world at your own pace.
It's like walking through a miniature Pixar museum.
Exactly. And it reinforces the idea that each of these Pixar stories, no matter how different they may seem, are all connected. They're all part of this larger tapestry of creativity and storytelling.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as Lego can be used to create something so complex and meaningful. It makes you realize that Lego is more than just a toy, isn't it?
Right. Lego has really evolved over the years. It's become this incredibly sophisticated artistic medium. And these dioramas are a perfect example of that. You can almost think of them as three-dimensional pixel art.
Three-dimensional pixel art.
Yeah, each Lego brick is like a pixel. And the builders are using those pixels to create these intricate images.
So they're using these simple building blocks to create something much greater than the sum of its parts.
Exactly. And, just like early pixel artists had to work within the limitations of their technology, these Lego builders are working within the constraints of their medium. They have a limited number of brick shapes and colors to work with.
So it's like they're turning those limitations into opportunities for creativity.
Totally. I mean, think about the Ratatouille kitchen scene. They captured all the chaos and energy of a busy kitchen in this tiny Lego space. It's incredible what they were able to achieve with such a limited palette.
It shows you that sometimes the most creative solutions come from working within constraints.
Absolutely. And you can see that ingenuity throughout the entire display. They had to overcome some pretty significant challenges, like capturing the sheer scale of the monster world in Monsters, Inc., or the ethereal quality of the afterlife in Soul. But they found ways to do it, and the results are stunning.
It's a testament to the creativity and problem-solving skills of the Lego building community.
Absolutely. And it's also a testament to the enduring power of Pixar storytelling. These films continue to inspire people of all ages, and this Lego tribute is a wonderful celebration of that legacy.
And it sounds like this is a project that can continue to grow and evolve as new Pixar movies are released.
Absolutely. The beauty of the honeycomb structure is that it's inherently expandable.
Yeah.
They can just add new modules as new movies come out, creating this ever-growing tapestry of Pixar history in Lego form. And as Lego continues to innovate and introduce new brick shapes and colors, the possibilities for future creations are endless.
It's exciting to think about what they might come up with next.
It really is. So when you step back and look at this whole project, what does it tell us? What's the message here?
I think it shows us that creativity can flourish anywhere, in any medium. It doesn't matter if you're working with the latest animation software or simple plastic bricks. The important thing is the story you're trying to tell.
Exactly. And this display resonates with people because it taps into our shared love for these Pixar stories and our appreciation for the artistry involved in bringing them to life, no matter the medium.
It's a beautiful reminder that limitations can actually be a source of inspiration, and that the most powerful stories can be told with even the simplest of tools.
Well said.
So there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the amazing world of Pixar as told through the magic of Lego. It's a truly inspiring project that makes you think about the endless possibilities of creative expression.
It really does.
And it leaves you wondering, what seemingly simple medium around you could be used to tell complex and meaningful stories? Maybe it's time to take a look at your own creative toolbox and see what hidden potential lies within. You never know what amazing things you might discover.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for joining us on this Lego-filled journey. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into something fascinating.
See you then.
Until then, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep those imaginations firing.
And keep building.